Welcome back to Great Day Live. Today we are recapping all the big looks that were on the runway for the Kentucky Derby Festival Dillard's Spring Fashion Show. So it was broken down into scenes, and another big scene that we saw on the runway was called Modern Romance. Couple dressing was high on the minds of the show producer Christine Fellingham, and she made sure that the models hitting the runway reflected that. Kirby Adams and Kathryn Gregory are back to help us dive through some of the looks here, because it's important when you go with, if you're going even with a group, right?
Yes,
think about
absolutely.
that. There was like there was a squad dressing.
Yes, it doesn't just have to be a date,
a couple
right?
or a date, or a partner.
Yeah.
It can be you and your squad. To be mindful of that, because there again for Derby 150, you want you and your squad to come ready.
Absolutely.
With that, all the trends.
But you don't have to come like in Garanimal outfits, where it's
they may, Kirby. I don't know.
But it's the subtle touches where everybody's all kind of coordinated with.
Thank God they gave us
palette.
ideas.
Yeah.
They provided us wonderful ideas. Because
Absolutely.
I think the trick with something like that if you're going with your spouse or your partner, that you don't want to look so matchy-matchy.
Yes.
Right.
You don't. Because then it just looks like a costume.
Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake.
Absolutely.
Denim.
Yeah,
2002.
Absolutely.
Was that
we are doing throwback, though.
Right? It is. That's the decade.
But
It's
maybe
back
not that.
in.
How fun is that?
Oh.
This was super fun.
So, by the way, that hat girl's design, that's a graffiti design on that hat.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's
I've
gorgeous.
always thought those were fun. I think they use an airbrush to create that. But ombre there in her dress.
Oh, and I
which
love
is
how that
another
matches
very,
his shirt and the bow tie
on
that he's got. It's a
trend.
great
Without
trend.
it looking like an exact match. That was the thing for me. Things were not exact matches. It just subtly.
So see how her colors.
She has bourbon in her
Yeah,
hand.
she's drinking bourbon, which matches kind of in the color theme there. But so a little bit of what she's wearing is reflective in his.
Well, and I like this.
His sports jacket as well.
I like this one too because she had a bold pattern, but so did he. But they were complementary colors, so they still worked together without competing against each other.
And that's the key. See his pocket square, his tie, that they don't even match, but they all blend together, and then they all blend with what she's wearing. So, I think you have to stand together at some point before you. But you know what? If you're going with a squad, wouldn't that be fun when you all meet for brunch beforehand, and then you're like, oh, look what we're all wearing.
Look at this.
We didn't do it.
Yeah. And then you can knock out the Christmas photo while you're at it too. Like it's all done. Just noticing even it's just men elevating their styles more. Like I don't remember in years past talking about the fact that couples dressing, men were an afterthought, but to pull their fashion game up, I'm just really seeing that this year.
And that reminds me, so walking around in the paddock area every year at Derby, and I see these wonderful couples or squads, but usually couples, and 99% of the time, I'll say, who coordinated this? And it's usually the female.
Right.
But occasionally, she will say, well, he did it. And so, I think one person has to take the lead.
Right.
But
you got to start with the vision. It's almost like a mood board.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What are you trying to project when you're there at Derby 150?
Yeah.
And the pocket squares were really, really big. I've seen this year lots of the pocket squares and the inserts that have the flowers that are super simple. Have you seen those?
Almost like a boutonniere almost.
It's like a boutonniere card. Like you slide it on in. So there's nobody can leave the house without something coordinating.
Yeah, my husband has no idea what's coming, but it's coming. Because this is the year. This is the year we're going to coordinate. Because we never have time because we're both busy.
But don't you think most people are saying that this year? Because again, it goes back to this is a big deal this year.
Huge deal.
And if you have tickets to go, by golly, we're all going to go looking like we're dressed to the nines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have a really good time with it. And if you want to take your bottle of bourbon and your sport coat, you go do you.
There you go. That was
you
perfect timing, Claudia.
I know.
Did you time that
No,
out?
she must have. I just knew it's on a loop. I knew it was going to come back sooner or later. Definitely going to
Look at all
come
the
back
ruffles
sooner
on that
or later.
dress too. We were talking about the trend of ruffles, and then it's dangling down the back too. So that's just so much fun, and it's just flowy, and it moves with her throughout the track. I'm sure it would just be a fun dress to wear. Which may we say, that is, after all, the point is to go dressed in a way which you are feeling fantastic and having fun.
Exactly.
So don't go in an uncomfortable ensemble.
Right, or, we talked about shoes being the number one thing that you need to focus on, but just too, from the dress to the whole look, you could be really uncomfortable and miserable the entire day.
Do I have time in this segment to say one thing about that, about comfort?
Of course.
I was thinking about this.
Kirby, go on.
I was thinking about this during the long drive home, but from Caesars. But I was thinking about how you really should take whatever it is you're wearing for Derby for a little test drive.
Yes.
Don't like, I'm a runner. We never run a race in a new pair of shoes.
Right.
It's you're guaranteed to have blisters. Same thing, or a wedding dress might be your only time you do only wear it in public for the first time. But your Derby outfit should probably have had a little run through without the hat or whatever.
That's a great idea.
Just so you know, okay, this works. Or, ooh, I spent the whole day pulling up my sleeve.
Or when you went to sit down,
Right.
you realized this scooted up too much, and I'm going to be tugging at this
And there's
dang
definitely
thing the
a
whole
difference
time.
between a standing dress and a sitting dress. We all know that.
Oh,
so.
yes.
I think we've come up with a new rule
That's
for
it.
Derby dressing.
Right?
Make sure you take it for a test
That
drive.
should be another column for you. I'm just thinking
Thank
of
you.
You're welcome.